Welcome to my Out of Bounds YouTube channel. I am back with another guest. And we are discussing basketball this week. Happy for you to join me, Kojo. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, bro. I'm happy to be on this podcast. Thank you for inviting me. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Obviously, the Lakers won yesterday, so
Yeah, man.
a different story and stuff. But all them late nights, you can't be waking up at 3 a.m. just to be watching the Lakers lose and stuff, innit? But what, have you been a Lakers supporter all your life?
Yeah, since I've been watching basketball, I've been following the Lakers, man. It just had to be the purple and gold. There was just no other team that really appealed to me apart from the Lakers, man. You know what I mean? So, yeah, been a Lakers fan for about 5 years now. So, yeah, man.
Is that what you started watching basketball?
Yeah, that's when I started watching it properly, like actually really taking proper interest in it. Like I've always been a fan of it, like since like secondary school. So since I was 14, I was watching the NBA here and there, but it wasn't like something I was properly following up until like my second year of college, like 17 going to 18. That's when I was like, yeah, I want to proper start watching this. It looks lit. You know what I'm saying? And the Lakers was like one of the only teams I knew. Like the Lakers, the Bulls, the Warriors. But I was like, because Kobe was one of my favorite athletes.
Yeah,
growing up. You know what I'm saying? I thought to myself, you know what? Even though you're a title player, but just the legacy and the history of the Lakers and it being the LA franchise as well, I think that got to me be a Lakers. And so I've been a fan ever since, bro. So it's not been easy though, because obviously we've been a disappointing team. But that one season, obviously a few years ago, winning the championship, obviously in the bubble, that just the whole season itself, I think was a very, very, very special season, and it was a great thing to witness, seeing our team win a 17th chip. So yeah, man.
I won't even capture the people. I only started supporting the Lakers in like 2021 when Russ joined.
Really?
Yeah, I started supporting them when
Wait. So how long have you watching basketball, bro?
probably since 2017. But I was
Okay, so
supporting
so
OKC. Yeah, but I was supporting OKC before in it when it was Russ and then KD just left and he had his MVP season or whatever. But then like, my two favorite players are LeBron and Russ in it. So when Russ joined the Lakers, I was thinking like, this is perfect. LeBron's there, Russ is there. Also, I'm not a Russ fan, just to put it out there, but now I'm fully Laker. But you know they say Lakers attract star player in it, so they needed me on the fan base. So like, you know what I'm saying. Now I'm there, but I just said like it has been tough being a Laker fan over the past 2 years with the disappointment they had last season. They didn't even make the play-in, and when you think about it, since LeBron has been there, they've only really had one successful season, if you get what I'm saying. But just going off this season, what do you think of the Lakers so far?
That's a good question, bro. This season, I think it's been so far. I'll say it's been a slight improvement from what we saw last season. And one of the biggest factors is that I feel like we've got a younger team, so we've got more energy. I think it's a bit more cohesive in the team. I think our younger players are a bit more interested. They want to play for the franchise. They want to give good performances. For the last season, we had a lot of veterans which were kind of just there, just kind of really get their minimum veteran deal and just kind of just play a season of NBA basketball. I don't think they had any sort of real motivation, any sort of like real desire to kind of really win games. Where I feel like these young bucks that we've got in our squad, they want to win games. They want to, be in the highlight reel. They want to do their best to make sure that they are stamping their authority in this Lakers team. That they can actually put a real mark within this team, innit? So I feel like because of that, I feel like we see some improvements. I think defensively we've gotten better as well. Obviously, I think for the first 3 weeks of the season, we were a top 5 defensive efficient team in the league, and we were top 3 within points allowed. So like in terms of how many points we conceded, we had the best 3 in terms of like not having the most points conceded in the league, at least for the first month of the NBA. So our defensive numbers were looking quite good. I think what's been the disappointing factor within the Lakers has been the offensive struggles. I think we've improved slightly, but it's obviously not where you want it to be in terms of if the Lakers are going to be like a proper team which are going to get into the playoffs and let's say challenge. Which obviously for me, if anyone said that Lakers are a challenge season, they're just delusional. They're not thinking right. They're not using their brains. This team is never going to chance for a championship. The best was for me a 7th seed. That's the best, and that's just the playing. That's like the top of the play, the playing seed. So for me, I feel like defense struggles have definitely defaulted the Lakers in terms of, winning games and just kind of be more consistent. But defensively, I'm liking what I've seen. I think there's a bit of cohesiveness. I think we're playing a better brand of basketball. We've seen the best of AD recently. I think the last week and a half he's been amazing. I think this season overall he's been great, man. I think he's averaging 26 points so far, which is not too bad. He's averaging over 10 rebounds. Like you're getting the numbers that you expect from AD. And he's played most games this season. I think he's only missed one game or two. And we played about let's say 8 and 12. So we played about 20 games. We missed one or two. That's not too bad, man. And long may it continue. So obviously, look, we're under 500, which again is not a surprise. I think this team can still grow. There's still developments in this team. It's a young team which can get better. I think this season, the ceiling for me is probably an 8th seed. But an 8th seed, you'll take it because you're a playing game, and from then, you never know what can happen. Maybe that one game, well, if you're the 8th seed, you have to win. But yeah, one game, obviously, if you're the 8th seed, then you're free to the playoffs, and you never know what can happen. So I think overall, I think it's been okay. But obviously, you can't be too satisfied because as a Lakers fan, you want to be competing and obviously, just winning many games.
That's what we're going to come to next. Because two things can be true. Lakers could have made an improvement, but then you know what Lakers are about is always like championship or bust, innit? But then one thing, just before I ask the question, because one thing I would say is since Kobe left, I think even before LeBron joined, the Lakers have only made the playoffs twice in 9 years. So one thing so just leading into my question is, do you think I won't say the mystique of championship or bust with the Lakers should disappear because, as you mentioned, they have made improvements, but it is the Lakers anyways. Improvement being the 8th or the 7th seed isn't what the Lakers are about. Even improvement being a 5th seed and getting knocked out of the semis isn't what the Lakers are about. It should be improvement to win a championship. So, are you happy with the amount of improvement you've seen? And two, do you think the Lakers should scrap, as an organization, should scrap the championship or bust notion, considering we've only made the playoffs twice in 9 years?
Yeah, that's another good question, bro. And obviously, I want to hear what you got to say about that as well. But okay, so the first question was the Lakers obviously making the playoffs twice in the last 9 years, so taking into Kobe's last few years, and obviously LeBron being the Lakers so far. It hasn't been great. Obviously, I think this stretch has been probably the Lakers' worst run, probably even in the 21st century. Without a doubt, it's been the Lakers' worst run within this millennial. Since I've been alive, it's been the Lakers' worst run. But no matter, I think for many fans, obviously, championship or bust, I think is a good kind of standard for the Lakers in a way, because you got to remember, obviously, because we've only been watching basketball for 5 years, so we haven't really seen the Lakers in its full glory. In terms of what many longer NBA fans and Laker fans and whatnot have kind of experienced. The Lakers are the biggest franchise in NBA basketball, up there with the Boston Celtics. I'll say number one. Because the Celtics, obviously, we hate the Celtics, but I'm going to be very objective here. Obviously, not take anything away from them. They are a great franchise, they're a historic franchise. But if we're being very honest here, 11 of the championships have come between 1947 and 1963. You know what I'm saying? And
the 1963.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And they won three Larry Bird, and then they've only won. So since '96, they've only won one championship. The Lakers have won, I think, at least 9. You know what I'm saying? So I think the record speaks for itself. The Lakers have won more championships in the modern era of basketball since the 3-point inception. We've been more of a competitive team. It's about some of our players. Yeah, this run here has been drastic, it's been terrible. But the Lakers have reached the playoffs more times than any other team in NBA history. We have the highest winning percentage of any other team in NBA history. We have the highest regular season winning percentage of any team in NBA history. So in terms of 75 years, the Lakers are still top franchise in terms of winning games, getting to the playoffs, and obviously in terms of championships. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Lakers mean success. LA represents success. This has been a terrible, let's say 10 years. It's been dreadful, and we've experienced that, majority of the time. But I don't think, for me, the Lakers should use a standard in terms of championship bust. Because at the end of the day, Celtics on 17. They're looking really good right now. They've got the best record in the NBA, playing one of the best defenses, and you see one of the best offenses. Got one of the best duos with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. You know what I'm saying? They're on a course to potentially win championship number 18. That would kill me if that happens. So right now, the Lakers it'll kill me. It would kill me. I can't stand the Celtics, man. I've adopted that nature. So we need to keep the standard, because obviously we need to make sure that, look, we can't be too satisfied being a 6th seed, being a 7th seed. I'm okay with the improvement receiving, but the main goal I don't want the. This may not be realistic, yeah, but you never know. You never know. I want in 2 years the Lakers to reach the NBA Finals. I'm a bit humble with it. I'm a bit humble because many NBA fans say, we gotta win a championship. I want us to win the title.
Yeah.
But in 2 years' time, I want to see the Lakers get to the NBA Finals because the way it's looking right now, the Clippers right now, next 3 years they got a good window. Obviously, Kawhi's here and there.
I don't believe in the Clippers anymore, man.
I hate you because they've been a bit dodgy. Like, I think right now they're 12 and 10. Kawhi hasn't played that much. Here and there. Paul George
played like 80 minutes in the last season and a bit.
No, yeah, been dreadful.
Yeah, no, but 100% get where you're coming from in terms of the standard should never drop, and I think it's more to do with I think my biggest issue with with Lakers fans and the Lakers in general is they seem to behave like all the Lakers issues with front office and their basketball all started when Westbrook joined. Now, obviously, let me just put out there, I am not a Westbrook stan. I am just a defender of justice. So obviously, I just have to speak the truth in it. But Westbrook is my guy anyways. But obviously, when Westbrook joins and the Lakers have that horrible season last season, it was everything like, oh, the Lakers are this bad because of Russ. The Lakers are this because of Russ. They don't play any defense because of Russ. They come on any offense because of Russ. And obviously, Russ had a particularly bad season by his standards. Even though I do think his season was blown out of proportion. And then you've got this season as well, where everyone just talks about how I don't understand how the Lakers had a championship team and they've blown it in 2 years and all that kind of stuff, which is true. But it's why I brought up the issue of the Lakers have only made the playoffs 2 in 9 years. I do think the Lakers have had a front office problem since the Kobe times, and it shouldn't be a thing whereas in just because Russ got traded, and you know how some people like Russ, a lot of people don't like Russ. It shouldn't be when Russ joined, all the Lakers problems did start. Now, in terms of with the whole championship thing, I 100% agree with you because in terms of the standard shouldn't drop. Because if LeBron and AD are the players that we say they are, this team should still be a playoff team. I mean, we've seen teams like, whereas if I take the Memphis Grizzlies for example, you look at players like Desmond Bane and Ja Morant. Going into last season, nobody would have said Ja Morant isn't the team. No one would say Ja Morant is the player that they say he is. But obviously, with the seasons he's had, they reached the playoffs. They got to the conference semis. Coming into this season, because of the player Ja is and because of the player Desmond Bane is as well, you repeat that same success. At the same time, I cannot tell you Ja Morant and Desmond Bane are better players than LeBron and AD. Obviously, role players do play a big part. But if LeBron is still a top 5 player in the league, which I don't think he's played like one this season, and AD is still a top 10 player in the league, which he hasn't played until like the last couple of weeks, there is no reason why this Lakers team shouldn't be a top 6 seed, in my opinion. Obviously, you've got the whole thing, as you mentioned before, when this season started, they were a historically great defensive team, but historically bad shooting team as well. I said that if the Lakers could just shoot their averages, they should be fine. And now Lonnie Walker is shooting well from 3, Austin Reeves is shooting well from 3, Westbrook is shooting better than he normally does from 3, LeBron has started to be hot, but then the defense has dropped, which is a bit like, why can't you have both, if you get what I mean? So that's the only thing I would say. Now obviously, one question I would ask you is, because we've heard about the Rush trade about with Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, and obviously Miles Turner was twerking on Woj podcast talking about, if I was the Lakers, I will see what I can provide, this and that. Now, given Turner and Westbrook are both expiring contracts, one, would you make that trade for Buddy Hield and Turner and give the 2 first-round picks? And 2, if you do make those trade, do you think that make like the Lakers title contenders?
Okay, how many years has Russ got in his current contract right now?
This is last final year.
Last year, so obviously he's going to free agency this summer or next summer.
So 2023 he goes into free agency.
Right. I personally resign him. I think he's playing well right now. This last month I think he's been great coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Now I don't resign Russ realistically if it won us a title, which I don't think is going to happen this season. So
I'm not even talking about resigning Russ. I'm asking, would you trade Westbrook right now for Miles Turner? But you got 2 first round?
I wouldn't, because you know why? LeBron's getting older. He's going to be 38 by the end of the year, by the end of the month, right? He's still playing okay. Like he's still playing like a top 20 player in the league. He's still going to average at least 23 points or more. So still going to get good service LeBron when he's healthy. But he's not prime LeBron. He's not peak LeBron. It's not the LeBron that we saw when we won the title or even in his Cleveland days. We're not going to get that LeBron. If we were that LeBron, then I'll do everything we can to get those pieces which are going to make us stronger. But like many guys, many people, many figures in the NBA media said, like Brian Windhorst, Michael Wilbon, even Stephen A. Smith, I agree with them totally. Getting these players is going to make the Lakers a solidified playoff team. It's not going to make the Lakers a championship team. Buddy Hield and Miles Turner are good players and they're good role players, but I don't think they're going to take this Lakers team to a championship level, in my opinion, with LeBron. Because if you look at the 2020 team, LeBron was still hungry. He wanted to win the title in LA. He wanted to solidify his legacy by winning the title in LA.
Still the best player in the league at that point.
Basketball. Say again, bro?
He was still the best player in the league at that point.
Yeah, 100%. AD again wants to prove something. Why I came to LA is to win. Why the Lakers blew their future, as a lot of people in the NBA media were saying, or the Lakers blew their future of getting AD. And this is just crazy. Why the Lakers, give away, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and future first round picks for AD. Just one player. You could build in the future and go again and develop. There's a lot of kind of downplay on that. You know what I'm saying, with the AD trade when we got him in 2019. He proved himself, stepped up to the plate, won a title. AD for me is playing well, but again, we need to see it for a few more months if he's still that AD and if his body can still hold up for the rest of the years that he's under the Lakers in terms of his contract. So right now, I wouldn't trade Russ for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. I'll just let the season go out. I think the Lakers can definitely get into the play-in. And you never know the play-in. Maybe the Lakers can get into the playoffs. Yeah, because I've seen some improvements. There's a bit of spark in the Lakers team. We're not a great team. We're not a solidified playoff team, but it's still early in the season. But we just reached December. For me, until the end of the year, that's when you can really start to see where teams are at. What teams can win the season, where they'll probably finish, and whatnot. So I'll say, give it next month, maybe the start of January, we can really see where the Lakers team's at. But right now, don't do it because I just feel like you're just going to throw away all your assets. The Lakers still have first-round picks come next year and the following year. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not second-round picks. You've got still first-round picks, so you can still get decent players and develop them. Do you know what I'm saying? So
that's kind of my point. I'm sorry, that's kind of my point because obviously when I discussed the Lakers with my friends and they would try and tell me, oh, you're not a real Laker fan because you're not going all in, and it's one of those things. As you mentioned, Lakers are championship or bust. You can't. Miles Turner's an expiring contract. Russ is an expiring contract. I wouldn't pay 2 first-round picks for that to not be a championship contender. As you mentioned, when it comes to the end of the season, you're going to get 44 million or 50 million off your books because of Russ. Miles Turner should be a free agent there as well. You can sign him there, and then you can also get other pieces as well. You can get Buddy Hield and even more, and still keep your picks and whatnot. But just on the final thing with the Lakers as well, what is your assessment of the job Darvin Ham has done so far?
I think he's done a decent job. I can't complain. I think defensively, we've seen improvements. Obviously, recently it's kind of dipped a bit. It's been turbulent, it's been fluctuating. But I think overall, the defensive intensity is better. It mimics what we had in 2020. Obviously, not to the set caliber, because that 2020 team played great defense. It was a top 3 defensive team all year round. But you're seeing the defensive caliber. He's bringing the team together. There's a bit of cohesiveness. Frank Vogel lost the dressing room last year, and deserved. It was a harsh sacking, but he lost the dressing room. It's like football. You lose the dressing room, you can't get it back. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think he's galvanized the team. He's instilled faith. He's instilled motivation. The defensive work is overall has improved. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's what he's known for. So yeah, I think he's done a decent job. Obviously, it's been amazing. If it's amazing, we'll be a 500 team right now in the playoff spot. He's done a decent job. I can't complain. It's his first year as an NBA manager, so again, it's not like he's an experienced manager where I expect much better. So yeah.
And just touching on that, because you talk about the second of Frank Vogel as well, and when Vogel was sacked, and then Jeanie Buss gave Rob Pelinka an extension, and people were wondering that what did he do to get this extension whatsoever. And Jeanie Buss came out and she said that she gave him the extension because she wanted his time with the Lakers to align with Darvin Ham, so it wouldn't be a situation whereas if he goes, Darvin Ham starts worrying about his job. Do you agree with the extension that Rob Pelinka got, or given the reason that Jeanie Buss gave as well?
Right. That's a bit of a weird one. Her reasons for that, why she gave Pelinka an extension. No, I wouldn't give Palinka an extension. I don't think he deserved it. Um, like you said, the Lakers. In his time, he's been what Lakers president. What he's been Lakers general manager for I think maybe 6 years now. Maybe yeah. I think he's been there. He's been Lakers manager. I think ever since Kobe left. That's about 6 years right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the Lakers have already made the playoffs twice. Won the championship once, but the second time you made the playoffs, you got bounced out in the first round, which is not great. It's not Lakers standard. So why are we giving? That makes sense. So the majority of the time that you've been with this team, you failed to reach the postseason. I don't get it. And then yeah, it's just no, no. Yeah,
I know.
it's bad decisions in the front office.
Yeah.
And that's like you said, that's where the Lakers problem lies. It's the front office decisions, bro. With the franchise not doing well, it all starts from the top. You know what I'm saying? It's a domino effect, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, because I mean, after they won the championship, they did start trading pieces. They got, and even though I still believe if in 2021 if the team was healthy, they still would have beaten the Suns and everything. But you could just see the moves, and then obviously people talk about the Rush trade, and then but even before the Rush trade, they traded Zubac for is it
I was a Malangas on that or Makala?
Apologies, yeah, but when you're making trades like that, you've given away, and Taylor Horton Tucker, I don't even think he's a great player, but you've given that away, and we've gone back like Patrick Beverly, who's just running around. He's not. In fact, I never saw him as an elite defender, anyways, but he's not that same pest, anyways, and he gives you nothing offensively. So it's just decisions after decisions. But just moving on from the Lakers, who are your favorites to come up? Not even to come up, either East or West. Who are your favorites to win the championship this season?
That's a good question. It's quite hard to kind of narrow it down and pick just one team from each conference. I think there's a couple which right now definitely have the possibility of winning. Obviously, I still think the Celtics are definitely going to be in the Eastern Finals again. I just can't bet against them right now. It has to say that because they're playing really well, man, playing really good. They got a good win against Miami. Like, yeah, they're looking very good, and obviously, like Jason Tatum's ascending right in front of our very eyes. The guy's playing MVP caliber basketball right now. So and they play great defense as well. Even without Ime Udoka, kind of at the helm, they still managed to kind of remain that defensive intensity. They still managed to kind of play hard basketball, and they're very difficult to break down. And I feel like they're very locked in when it comes to the 3-point shooting. They're very physical, cohesiveness. So for me, I think right now, that's in the first kind of the East, if not Milwaukee, because obviously I think they're second right now in the conference, and they played quite well so far. Obviously, Middleton's going to be coming back, and they're still in good contention, still remain competitive.
I thought he's coming back against the Lakers.
When are we facing the Bucks? What, on Sunday?
Is it on Friday or something like that? I know it's coming up again.
I know we got this week. Is it Sunday?
It was Sunday or Friday.
I need to double check that, but yeah, I know it's this week. So yeah, he's going to be back, and I think for me, the Bucks need Middleton. He's that extra piece to solidify their chances of winning the title, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's that glue. I think with him playing well, he's a two-way player, good 3-point shooter. He's going to give the Bucks a lot of confidence to really go for that title. So I think for me, top two out of the East is definitely Celtics and the Bucks, hands down. I think the Nets for me right now they're a bit sticky. I don't really see consistency in this Nets team, especially with Kyrie Irving, the whole drama. Ben Simmons is still finding his way. I think the last few games he's done well, but overall I just don't think the Nets right now are going to be that team to defeat the Celtics 4 games out of 7. I can't see it. Yeah. So for me, it's going to be between the Bucks and the Celtics in terms of who's going to come out of the East. On the West, the Warriors, obviously, I still believe in them. What the Warriors will do, if they can just play the level of defense they played last season, they'll win the championship because they're a very good offensive team. They play the best offensive basketball. They have a very good offensive scheme. They have the best 3-point shooters in the league. So Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins is no joke from the 3-point range when he's cooking. Stephen Curry is the greatest shooter that God's ever created. The guy's a human blow-up. We can all agree on that. And he's playing well this season. You know what I'm saying? He's shooting, I believe, 45% from the 3-point range. The guy's having a great 3-point season so far. So the Warriors, for me, if they can pattern the defense, which again still early, I think they're gonna come out the West, bro. And if not, it'll probably be the Phoenix Suns. From what I've seen so far, Phoenix are having a great season, number 1 in the West. They destroyed the Bulls yesterday at home. D-Book dropped a 51. Great points from him. He's ascending, and again, he's probably in the MVP conversation. Not probably number one, but I say definitely top three right now. So yeah, but tell me what's your thoughts, like?
Yeah, I think obviously you mentioned the Celtics. Just quickly, you mentioned Celtics and the Bucks, and obviously those are the two best teams in the East right now. I mean, for me, I think the Bucks might just have the edge just because they've got Giannis. Obviously, they had Giannis last season in the playoffs as well, but they didn't have Middleton, who is their closer, who's another scorer that can shoot from the perimeter. And Drew Holiday, I mean, he's a great defender and he's a good offensive player, but he's not Middleton offensively as well. So I do think they were missing him. So if the Celtics both had their three best players and the Bucks have their three best players, I do think Giannis being the best player in the league, and I think he's the one that has taken. Obviously, I think he's the one that has taken the person from LeBron in terms of who's going to be the best player in the league for like the next 5. You know the way it was LeBron year after year after year.
Yeah,
I think this way it's going to be Giannis year after year after year. Like you have different people in the MVP conversations, but Giannis then will always be there. And I think for that Giannis factor, I do think they'll be the team to come out of the East. And I'm even picking them to win the whole thing, anyways. It's just one of those, like, you know, when you just can't bet against LeBron. At this point, I can't bet against Giannis anymore. I think he's that good. The West, I'm gonna go Golden State as well, just because the Suns, I'm just never gonna believe in them till they actually do it. It's because even the run they made in the 2021 playoffs, I do think it was a bit like.
It was very fortunate because
it was like obviously
they faced the Hamper Lakers team, and then the conference finals. They faced the Clippers team, which didn't have quite ended.
Yeah, exactly. So like every team they faced on the way is like they had an injury to one of their two best players, and then the first team that was healthy that they came up against in the finals, they lost 4 straight games. I'm not believing in that. And then what they did last season as well is kind of unforgivable in terms of to lose like that in a game 7 was absolutely embarrassing. Now, and it's one of the things that you see, and this is why people think I'm not gonna just hop on it, but this is why people think I'm a Westbrook stan, because the standard that people hold Westbrook to, they don't hold the other great point guards to. CP0, Chris Paul, he's someone that has had like less playoff success than Westbrook, but then he seems to get a pass. The performance that Chris Paul had in the semis last season cannot be happening, and so. In terms of player, and he's known for blowing leads anyways. Like he's known for like during the Clippers.
Yeah, but Houston.
Yeah, Houston. They did it, and injury, and he's now injured again. So that new vegan diet that he was doing, like probably has run his course. Father time comes on everyone. Now you still got the Devin Booker factor, but I don't know. With Devin Booker, I just feel like there's just always something missing that players like Luka or Jar or that you see these other superstars have, like, but Devin Booker's a top 15 player in the league, whether we like it or not. Like what he does, 51 points in 3 quarters, like that's great. When he had that 70 point, and now he's added winning, because remember he went like 7 years without making the playoffs when all these players were making. I mean, you can't disrespect him and say he's not top 15 and potentially even top 10, but I don't know, there's just something that I always feel like he's missing from his game when the going gets tough. He's not that guy to carry you through. So
I agree. I don't think he's had many great moments in the playoffs. Obviously, I think he's only made the playoffs twice. The season he got to the finals. He was good in moments, but it wasn't consistent. He had like a great consistent player run if I really remember. And obviously last season, like you said, where was he in that game 7? The star players, always got to cement the legacy in the game 7. So he didn't do that. So I think that's kind of, again, led your reason why you don't really believe in him.
And you see that Michael Jordan, I mean, when it talks about how it's easy to talk when you're ahead. Like the Suns are just that team that they do all the gloating when they're winning, but they never do any of the gloating when they're down. So, I mean, they're also an unlikable team as well and whatnot. So, I mean, we're going to have to see how that plays out. Just the last topic, I just want to move on. Who do you think is leading the MVP race at the moment?
Okay. I think for me it's between Jason Tatum and Luka Doncic. A third shout, I'll give it to, just to turn it up, because I think everyone's going to go be honest, and rightfully so. I can't I can't really debate anyone who says that. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna go probably for the final one, my top three. I'm gonna go with Devin Booker. But yeah, so Jason Tate number one, Luka number two, and then Devin Booker number three. Well, Jason Tate quite simple for me, playing good defense, number one team in the league. He's putting up great numbers. He's a sudden in front of our very eyes. And yeah, Luka Doncic again. This guy's been averaging triple doubles this season, bro. And I think in the last game they had against the Warriors and they win, bro, had 45 points, 12 rebounds, and he had double-digit assists. Like the majority of the games he's had this season, bro. I think normally over 70% of the games he's played, he's had a triple double, like putting in ridiculous numbers. Like this guy, he's probably gonna have more triple doubles than Russ by the end of his career. He's only 23, so the only problem is that the Mavs are not really winning consistently. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they're not a top 5 team in the West, so that's what's probably going to hurt him in terms of probably winning MVP if the Mavs don't improve. And I think Devin Booker, bro, he's the best player for the Phoenix Suns. He's the most efficient scorer. He's been very efficient this year from scoring. He's a good 3-point shooter in the 3-point league where your 3-point shooting is very valuable. He's doing that correctly. And the number one team in the Western Conference, so I can't disrespect Devin Booker. So that's my top 3 MVP. But what about you, bro?
I mean, I think we both agree on number one. I think Jason Tatum should be number one right now. I mean, what he's doing offensively and defensively, he's playing both ends on a high level. His team's number one in the East. You see the thing that happened with Udoka, and he's still being able to maintain them high standards. So, I mean, there is no reason Tatum shouldn't be number one when you look at what MVP has normally been over the past year. Now, Luka is having an historic season as well, and I do think he's been really great. But the reason I can't put him in I think Luka's top 5 MVP candidates, but I don't think he's top 3, because I think when you speak about top 3, I do think records matter as well, wins and losses. Like unless he starts, like even triple double won't save him, because he won't do a Westbrook, like what Westbrook did, because that triple double was the first to ever be seen. So I do think number 2, I'm gonna go with Giannis, because the way the numbers he's putting up with Milwaukee, he's very consistent, and the number 2 in the East, and he's doing this without Middleton as well. So when Middleton comes back, there's also another level they can go to, and he always does on both ends. And number 3, I didn't really think of it, but now you mentioned it, I'll give it to Devin Booker as well, because I don't want to be too disrespectful of what he's doing. Because when you look at the West, teams aren't really pulling themselves apart. A lot of the teams are within around 500 and all that kind of stuff. So to them be one of the odd teams out in the West that is actually pulling you away from the group, I do think that deserves a lot of credit. I mean, just checking the record now, they are 15-6, and they don't have Chris Paul as well for some time, and Ayton doesn't want to be there, so he's not even playing to his best. So I mean, for Booker to be doing this, I think 29 points a game, 37% from 3, I do think he deserves some credit for being in the top 3. So that's my ranking anyways. And then number 4, because I do think 4 and 5, the records matter less, so then I'll put like Luka and Steph and those kind of players there. So yeah, that's my top 5. But yeah, I think I'll just wrap it up there. Really thank you for jumping on. Is there anything you want to plug? Anything to promote?
Yeah, man. Follow me on Twitter. Very active on Twitter. Talking about basketball, football as well. So my Twitter is KO_LDN London 08. So yeah. Follow me on Twitter. And yeah.
No, really appreciate you jumping. Hope to have you on again sometime. And yeah, follow me on all my social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and what's the last one? Oh, and even my YouTube is the same thing as well. OuterBounds_UK for daily sports content, and I'll be back again next week. Thanks.